You're in it with Jaimee, the show where female founders, industry leaders, innovators, and disruptors all come to level the fuck up. Today's show is brought to you by The Shift, my one-on-one intensive session where we will completely shift the trajectory of your business in just 7 days. What's hot and what's not in the industry for me this week? Let's kick this off. What's hot for me is literally, again, I think this is going to be what's hot forever, is the conversations that I've been having once again in my DMs, on the comments of my posts, and, leading off of my stories on Instagram. I honestly love having these real, raw, and real perspective shifting conversations with you. And it means so much to me that my content is really landing. I honestly wish that everyone got to have this experience. And, the only thing that I can really put it down to is that I really have removed a whole new level of filtering. The things that I am sharing are literally things that are coming to me in divine timing and just pure downloads from the universe, and it's really landing and hitting home. So I guess another thing of what's hot is literally creating content in the moment when you are feeling inspired, but relieving the pressure of having to get it done and get it out there right in that moment. And this is also what's not hot for me at the moment, is very much that pressure of feeling like when something comes in, you need to act really fast. Now, I know that there are conversations around that where, people talk about the speed in which you can act when you get an idea is really going to help you in collapsing time and quantum leaping, right? I do think that sometimes we try to rush things way too fast. We try to just get it out there and I love the messy action, but I also think that we need to allow ourselves that little bit of time and space to breathe. And that is exactly what I have been doing with my content. I get the download, I put it straight into the notes section of my phone, and then I give it a little bit of time to digest. I don't go and try and post it straight away. And I have found that then I've got more of a download and more oomph has come to that, more fire, more depth has come to those posts, to that content. So when I put it out, it's next level. It was already great. The download was amazing. The download was perfect as it was, but I've been able to up level it by giving myself that time and space to digest. If you are ready to totally quantum leap, collapse time, change your life, change your business this year, level everything the fuck up, then you need to stay to the end of this episode, of the show, of this video, wherever you are watching, because I am literally going to be giving you the exact tangible steps that you need to take this year in order to collapse time, quantum leap, and finally do those things on your vision board that you have not managed to tick off over the last few years. Now, I know that we are all so guilty of this. Every year we get so excited and we create these vision boards and we set all these amazing goals. We decide we're really going in. This year's going to be the year that we fully up level our business, that we finally reach that new income level, that we, launch those new programs, that we do all those new things, that we're going to raise our prices. You get me, you feel me, right? You've been there. And then what happens is, right, it's all exciting at the start of the year. But very quickly, that excitement wears down. That excitement runs out. And you're back in the day-to-day, grind of life, of business, of being a business owner. I know that you are so busy dealing with clients, dealing with a team, doing all the things that sometimes these goals just go by the wayside. And sometimes I actually think that we play a little bit small and we tell ourselves that it's okay. We're happy to go slow and things will happen in the time that they're meant to happen, and that we don't want to put pressure on ourselves. And, maybe the goals just don't feel aligned anymore. And you know what? Maybe in some way there is truth to all of that. But I also think that that is just our subconscious trying to keep us safe, right? And so what today's whole episode is inspired by is actually myself and my own story. So I am that person. Every year I've been setting these goals, and I absolutely have quantum leaped time and time again over the past few years. Like, my life now is so different to what it was literally just 2 years ago. And I'm so proud of that. But what I realized recently is that oftentimes I have these amazing goals. I know what I want. I have the vision, but it's in the implementation, the execution of the things that I need to do to actually bring that into my reality that I'm slipping. And it's not that I'm not taking action. Like, let's be really clear, just like with you. I know that you're more than likely not stuck in resistance, and you are more than likely still doing things in your business. Like, you're busy, right? We've established that you're busy, you're running a business. But the thing is that the thing that lets us all down from actually achieving the things that we want to desire, we want to bring into our reality, the things that we desire, is the execution of it. It's that simple, right? And this really landed when I read the book, or listened to it on Audible, I should say, The 12-Week Year. Now, the funny thing is with this, I actually came across this book on YouTube late last year sometime. And I was watching this creator, and I don't know, it landed with me, but I just wasn't interested. It was one of those things, have you ever had that happen where you've bought a book because you felt drawn to it? And then you've got it home, you've maybe read a few pages and gone like, oh, this just isn't it. I'm just going to put it away. I'm not interested anymore. And then a few months later, you felt drawn to the book again. You've pulled it out. You've started reading, and you're like, holy moly, this book is amazing. Why has it been sitting on my bookshelf so long? This book has changed my life. I believe that this happens because at that time, the initial time that you come across it, you're just not ready for it, right? There is something in that book, in that video, in that thing that your subconscious, your mind is just not ready to hear, right? And then in the divine timing with the universe, right, when you are ready for it, it will come back into your reality. You will dive into it and things will just land, right? And that is exactly what happened to me with the 12-week year. I stumbled across this creator last year who was literally changing her life using this system. I watched half of her video and I was like, it just doesn't feel right for me. Now is not the time. Now, the funny thing is that literally just in the last few weeks, the exact video has popped up on my, YouTube homepage again. And I was like, I'm going to watch it. Like, I'm interested. Let's see what this is about. Let's dive in. Now, the other funny thing with this is that I got about halfway through the video, and it's not that it wasn't a fantastic video, but I realized this. I had the words of one of my mentors ringing through my mind. And she always says, go direct to the source. Like, when you find like people on YouTube, podcasters, people on social media, like basically reiterating to you something that they've learned, it's obviously got their perspective on it. And like, I'm so here for that because I love sharing my perspective. I know you love my perspective, and I love hearing other people's perspectives. But what I wanted from this, because I was so drawn to it, was like, I wanted to get it direct from the source. So I went straight to my Audible, got the book, binged it pretty much in one day. And there were so many concepts that I just think are absolutely revolutionary. So the 12-week year, just for some more context and information for you, is a book written by Brian Moran and Michael Lennington. It essentially is all about compressing your year, the 12 months of your year, into 12 weeks. The whole tagline of the book is that in 12 weeks, you can achieve more in your life than most people will in 12 months. The concept is honestly so simple. Like, throw away your annual, yearly goal setting and planning and focus in on 12-week chunks of the year instead. Now, the theory is that when we have such a strict time constraint, we will take action in a way that we usually will not. In business, they have found, and the gentleman that wrote this book, they've done extensive studies and research into like goal setting and action taking specifically in business. And what they found was that most businesses start to really achieve their goals in the last 3 months of the year, because the pressure of the impending new year, of the year end, is really looming over them. And so, it comes to October, November, and they go ham, and they're selling and they're doing sales and they're literally doing all the things. And that is when their income starts to spike, and all the other goals that they have set for their business, really start to come into their reality. They also suggest only focusing on 2 to 3 main goals at a time. And then, because you are constricted to only 12 weeks, you're really filtering out like what are the needle moving mega steps that you need to take in order to really bring these things into your reality. So there's no fluff, no BS. It is all just very specific things that you need to do. Now, one of the things that I really loved is that they touch so much on mindset. So one of the things that they mention is that the results that you achieve in your business are a direct byproduct of the actions that you take. And we know that the actions that we take are determined by our underlying thoughts and beliefs. And the thing is, what I see in this industry is this really interesting pattern at the moment of this, anti-hustle, chill flow culture. And I'm so here for it, right? I'm so here for leaning more into the feminine. And one big thing that I found through reading this book was that it is very rooted in masculine. It's very, very masculine energy. It's very, very doing. There is no talk about being. And while they do speak about concepts of rewiring the brain to like just change the way that you look at things, there really is no space for really adjusting your mindset, shifting your identity to embody this next level version of you or anything like that. So, me. Of course, I have taken this and I have completely turned it on its head. I wanted to touch on it because this is the concept that has inspired everything that I am about to share with you. So I'm changing the name from the 12-week year to the quantum year because I am removing the time frame from it. Now, anyone who has read the book will probably be thinking, yeah, but the time frame is literally like where it's all at. It's about the pressure of only having 12 weeks to achieve everything that you desire. But here's the thing. We know that when we speak to time, when we apply time frames to things, it does not allow us to play in the quantum. It does not allow us to collapse that time. Time is a man-made constraint, right? And something that I see, this is another sabotaging pattern, is that we are relying on these external sources, such as time, to motivate us to make the changes that we need to make, which means that you're always going to need to be in almost this like hustle mode or like this limited time mode in order to achieve anything. And that is just not the vibe for me. And so my plan for the quantum year is to remove that time constraint because I want to really be diving into myself for motivation, for inspiration, for the will to go on when times get tough. I don't want it to be because I've only got 3 weeks left of a 12-week year, right? And I invite you to play with this in the same way. I want you to find that, inner motivation, that inner inspiration, that inner power, rather than always be relying on external circumstances. When you can do this in itself is going to help to reprogram your subconscious because you're literally wired to always be looking outside of yourself, right? And the other thing that I found the 12-week year centered really, really heavily around was SMART goals. Now, you know that I'm not here for SMART goals. So SMART goals, if you don't know, are specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're realistic, and they're time-bound. Do you see how that does not allow for us to play in the quantum, to collapse time, or to manifest? They're very, very strictly in the masculine, right? And while this may feel good for some people, the things that I don't love, right? I love specific, I love measurable. Yes, I think, depending what type of manifest you are, which is all relative to your human design type, by the way, different human design types need to be more specific than others. So you need to go and check that out for yourself. I'm not going to rattle that off here, but you will either be a specific manifester or not. So that's completely relevant to you. So I don't hate the specificity piece of the SMART goals. I love things to be measurable. What you can't measure, you can't properly, change and grow. And that's what we are here to do. We do need to actually keep track of where we're going and how we're going, and how, like, what's working and what's not. So we absolutely do need to be able to measure things. When it comes to achievable and realistic, like, who is to say? Look, we're in a completely different era now with social media to what we were when things like SMART goals were a real big thing, right? What is achievable and realistic now? You just don't know. Like, we are literally in a business where everything could blow up overnight. It just takes one video, one podcast, one opportunity, one client to change everything for us. So I don't play into achievable or realistic because you just don't know, right? You just don't know anymore. And of course, we know time bound keeps us boxed in, right? It keeps us playing into that time field. It keeps us relying on external motivating factors in order to make any changes. And when you rely on external motivating factors, you will always need them there in order to achieve the things that you desire. That's keeping you stuck in itself. We want you, again, I feel like I've said this 3 times, I'm going to say it again. We want you to be able to always come back to here, to come back to yourself, and to be able to take the actions that you need to take in order to motivate yourself, right? You don't need to go looking outside of yourself. So I want to give you the exact steps. Now, this is actually your invitation to play along with me. I am implementing all of this for myself. I'm going to document it. I'm going to do short videos on YouTube and across Instagram. I'm going to be talking about it on the podcast. I'm going to be creating more videos for YouTube. I'm doing all the things because I really want to show you what this looks like. And I want to show you again that you also, can implement things like this without the time frame and still make mega changes. I actually think it's going to be more powerful, right? So here are the big steps that you need to take in order to join me along or, do this yourself in your own time. The first thing is your vision. Your vision, and I've spoken about this so much this week over on my Instagram, your vision is your compass. It is your guide. You need to know where you are going first and foremost above everything. You can't reprogram without knowing where you're going. You can't remove resistance without knowing where you're going. You shouldn't be doing any mindset work without knowing where you're going. And you can't make a plan without knowing what you're planning for. I want to invite you, though, to not rush this. And this is a backstory of my own. So again, I love to put pressure on myself. I love to just, when I get ideas, just dive in and get shit done, right? And I never used to be that way. I used to be a massive perfectionist, and I'd sit on something and 3 months down the track, nothing would have changed because I was still trying to make it perfect. Now I've gone so far the other way that I've actually started putting pressure on myself that, just doesn't need to be there. So I really want you to take your time with this. I am about to go on a road trip with my family. We're going away for almost 2 weeks. It's going to be amazing. Going down to the Gold Coast, meeting up with some really amazing people. All of that will be shared very soon. But I'm actually going to spend that whole time getting really clear on my vision. This isn't something that needs to be done in one day. I want you to have conversations with your family, with your significant others, with your children, with your friends, with everyone in your life, with your business besties, right? Really have conversations with them, invite them into playing a role in this, obviously, if it's relevant, and really spend time painting out that vision. And when I say vision, there's like so many things that I'm going to be doing. So obviously really deciding like all of the things I want and all of that, like the nitty gritty. What does it look like? Who am I in that reality? What does that look like for me? What's my family look like? Where am I living? What car am I driving? How am I looking after myself? What do my daily routines look like? What does my business look like? How much money I'm going to literally be creating once I've painted the vision of that dream reality. I'm actually going to do some profit planning, like actually calculating what that dream life is going to cost, right? So that I know the minimum, amount that I need to target in order to bring that into my reality. And the cool thing with that activity is that most of the time we think we need to be earning like $1 million a month in order to achieve our big, U-Butte dreams. But the truth is that we don't. And so it's a really pleasant surprise, and it makes that dream reality feel so much more obtainable, right? I'm going to obviously be doing vision boards. I love Pinterest. I literally live by Pinterest for this stuff. I don't just do one big vision board either. I do like, a vibey vision board for how I see myself, a vision board for my business, a vision board for my life, for my home, dream trips, all of that. So even a perfect day is a new one that I've started doing. And it just gives you so much inspiration. You can also use those vision boards then to help you visualize that being your life. It's not just about going and pinning pretty pictures to Pinterest boards. It's about really intentionally looking at what is evoking emotion, pinning them to boards and revisiting those boards. I know so many people don't do this. What's the point of a vision board if you're not revisiting it and really going through it? And it's okay to take things off and put new things on. We are humans. We are evolving. We are growing. If you're in my world, you grow as fast as I do, which is fucking fast. I've already deleted all of my vision boards that I created at the start of the year because they're no longer aligned. And that is okay. We have to allow ourselves that flow and that space to grow and change and evolve, right? So the vision boards, I'm going to draft out my perfect day. And then I'm also going to create a whole host of affirmations and like mantras that are relevant to the things that I desire and plug them into my ThinkUp app. If you have not heard me talk about ThinkUp, I don't know where you've been because I'm obsessed with it and I totally should be sponsored, but I'm not because I share about it all the time. ThinkUp app is an amazing app that allows you to literally record in your own voice affirmations, mantras, whatever you want to. I've actually even recorded my whole perfect day script in there and play it as you fall asleep at night. You can add background tracks to it. You can set timers to it. You can do everything. This is the most powerful way to use affirmations to reprogram your subconscious mind. It's like priming for me, right? I don't use it necessarily to reprogram limiting beliefs, but what I do use it for is to really prime my mind for the things that I desire. And I've done this so much that last time I had to clear out all of my ThinkUp because it just didn't feel aligned anymore. And then since then, I have actually witnessed things that I've spoken into ThinkUp coming into my reality. And it was so weird. It was like this feeling of deja vu, like I've been here before. And I realized, no, I haven't been here before, but I've plugged this into my ThinkUp. It's so powerful. So that's vision. That is the first humongous step. And I want you to take your time with it. The next step is that's your overarching big vision, right? That's a lot to focus on, and that probably is going to be really overwhelming if you start trying to break that vision down into all of the things that you need to do to bring it into your reality. We're not going to do that. We're not here for overwhelm. We're not here for hustle. I want you to choose 2 to 3 main things that you are going to focus on. One of the other mega ways that I see people self-sabotage is by having too many things on the go at once, right? If you have, like, this is you here, right? And you've got this goal and this goal and this goal and this goal and this goal. How the hell are you reaching any of them? Because there's no tension between them. And you're literally just bouncing and bouncing and bouncing between them all. You're never going to achieve any of them, right? It's mega self-sabotage to try and overwhelm yourself with things to do. We want 2 to 3 main goals. Make sure one of them is a personal one. We get so caught up in everything being about our business and about money that we forget about ourselves. And I'm actually recording a whole other episode on that very soon. But I'll talk about that then. So make sure one of them is a personal goal, right? And then, so you've got your 3 goals. I'm actually doing all of this in Notion, and I'm setting up a full Notion template so that I can track all of this, by the way, because I accept that it is a lot. If you would like access to that template, DM me over on Instagram, or if you're watching on YouTube, comment below. I can sort something out for you, absolutely, because I want you to join in. So after you've got those 3 like tangible things that you're working towards, I want you to start to brain dump for each individual one all of the things that you could do in order to bring it into your reality, right? Now, this is really important. It's all of the things that you could do. The reason it's could is because it doesn't mean you're going to. It's just allowing your mind to open up to potential, right? So I want to give you an example of this. If one of your goals is to grow social media, things that you could do to do that would be posting every day. It would be collaborating with others, doing lives with others, doing podcast interviews with others, inviting other people into your podcast, you going onto other people's podcasts. The same with the lives, right? It could be running ads on Facebook and Instagram. It could be getting onto another platform and directing traffic. Do you see what I mean? There's so many different ways that we can do that. But quite often what we do is we're like, oh, well, I would never run ads, so I'm not writing that down. Write it down. We want to open our minds up to all of the potential ways that we could do something, because we're playing into potential. Like, it's magic when you play into potential. And then you're going to filter through that list and be like, okay, what really feels good? What really feels good as a way to grow my social media, right? And then from there, you are going to create a list of things that you are actually going to do. This list will be able to be broken down into monthly, weekly, and daily tasks that you need to complete in order to move yourself forwards. That is as simple and as complicated as it needs to be, right? We way overcomplicate the fuck out of everything. I can guarantee you that at the start of the year, when you did your vision board and you set your goals, you didn't break it down into any task steps or any action steps. You know, you might have set a few like goals for your business of like launching this and doing that. But did you actually write down every little thing that you could possibly do and then decide what you're actually going to do? Did you then schedule those things, right? This is the level that we need to go to. It is when you implement these actions, these tiny tasks, and it's these needle moving activities. It's not fluff, right? We don't want fluff on this. We want to really just be focusing in on the things that we know are really going to help us move forwards, okay? The other thing that I'm going to be adding into this, and again, I invite you to do something similar or to reach out to me and we can speak about if I've got any packages or programs that would be relevant to you to assist with this. Well, if I do, you know I do. But I'm going to be reprogramming my mind each week. So I think sometimes we way overcomplicate everything, but the application of our mindset work, we wait until we are coming up against ourselves before we decide we're going to be doing any mindset work. The way that I actually prefer to use the superconscious RECODE, which is the methodology that I use to reprogram my mind, it's so powerful and it's so fast. I'm actually going to record also another whole episode just on this in itself to really share why it's so important to me and why I think it's so powerful and why I think it's the missing key to your business. But that will be coming in a few weeks. But I'm going to be scheduling those sessions every single week. And the way that I use them in this circumstance is by looking at my goal for the week, the things that I need to achieve that week, those tasks lists, right? And then really feeling into the resistance that I have towards completing those tasks. We get so caught up in the resistance that we have to the big things, right? To the big amounts of money, to the big action steps, to doing all the big things, to the big vision. But sometimes it's actually resistance to those daily tasks that is keeping you stuck, right? So I will be doing a weekly recode on my resistance to completing those daily tasks every single week. Now, I'm also going to be adding in some extra reprogramming and extra recoding and different things like that as I see fit and in relation to other things that come up. But I'm committing to a minimum once a week rapid recode so that I can stay in action. Now, the other thing that's really important is actually reviewing and reflecting, having that CEO day to look over everything that you've done for the week. This isn't about shaming ourselves if we haven't ticked everything off for the week, because it's not about that. It's not about the hustle and the push and the force. It's always about coming back to that version of you, reflecting on how in alignment you've been, because I can guarantee you the next level version of you that you are stepping into, she's taking action. She's doing these things consistently, right? So it's really about that. We don't need to shame ourselves. We do need to accept that life is life and things do get in the way. But we also want to be able to measure what's working and what's not, what feels good and what doesn't, what needs to shift, what needs to change. I think one of the biggest things that people have resistance to planning is because they think that the plan is set in stone. And so I see so many people who don't even want to like create, next level visions or go any further than their one goal that's in front of them, because they feel like it's set in concrete. The thing is that we, like I said, are always growing and changing and evolving, and our plans and goals need to be able to do that with us. So this plan that you create is not set in stone. Every week you need to review it. You need to make changes. You need to shift the tasks around, outsource more things to other people to help you bring these into your reality. I want to finish off on one more thing around like the whole feminine and masculine energy of business, because what I really see is this mega imbalance. And the reason that I am really implementing this quantum year is because I feel like this is the best way to combine the two. Now, if you're already sitting here and you're like feeling like you're in massive resistance to even this planning concept or maybe the flow concept, let's have a chat about this, because what I've seen a lot of in this industry is unintentional resistance towards either being in the masculine or being in the feminine. There's always so many conversations around, masculine and feminine energy and people needing to be more one way or more the other way. What I actually think for some reason is not spoken about is that, business is this beautiful dance between the two. It's actually you being able to flow from one state to the other, from the being to the doing, and, the structure to the flow, all of the things. You need to have both, right? And so the way that I want you to think about masculine and feminine energy is that the masculine energy is the structure which holds the feminine and allows the flow, right? Now, it was Samantha Daly. I was listening to her podcast the other day, Make Shift Happen. Shout out, because this analogy is absolutely amazing and really sums up the masculine and feminine energies beautifully when it comes to this exact application, right? We don't need to resist either. We need both, okay? And for me, this whole quantum year is about being both. It's about the structure that encompasses my flow and allows me to play in the quantum and collapse time and actually achieve the things that I desire to achieve, right? Now, Samantha's analogy was to imagine like the perfect balance of masculine and feminine is a glass of water. And like, I really wish that I had one here now, but if you're watching, I have a coffee cup. So let's like imagine it that way. Okay. So this coffee cup, which has now cold coffee in it, is the perfect definition of balanced masculine and feminine. Masculine being the glass, the actual structure that is holding and supporting the coffee, which is the feminine flow, right? So let's say, and I wish that I could like actually demonstrate this, but I'm not doing it because it'll make literally a giant mess. Let's just say I don't have any coffee in this cup. There's no liquid in here. It's literally now just an empty cup. The masculine without the feminine is just that. It's an empty structure, right? It is an empty structure. And by that same token, the coffee, the feminine flow without the masculine structure is literally a mess all over this desk, right? If I poured it out, it's going to go everywhere. It's going to create a mess. And there's going to be like there's no coming back from it. There is coming back from that. We have to clean it all up, right? But you know what I mean? So I hope I hope that I didn't butcher that too much. I hope that really landed, but I want you to think of it that way. The masculine is the structure, the glass that holds the flow, the feminine, the liquid together. You need the two of them. And for me, this application of the 12-week year is exactly that. And I'm honestly so excited. Like I said, I'm going to be taking the next 2 weeks to really go into that vision and the planning side of things, so that when I get back from my road trip, from my holiday, I will be ready to get into massive action. Like I said, I'll be recording all of this, documenting the whole journey between YouTube, TikTok, and my Instagram. Probably more TikTok, just because I can create more videos over there without, things going too haywire. But I'll be sure to share them all around. And I invite you to join along with me. So if you want to get on board, DM me over on Instagram. Maybe we can set up a close friends or even accountability group. But I really want to see more women embracing this like masculine with the feminine and actually achieving the things that they set out to